Upcoming games are raising the bar with more realistic visuals and refined presentation. Lighting, textures, and movement are all becoming more natural and detailed. Here are upcoming thrilling games that look too real to be true.
Remember, I work for other people. They called it opportunity. I called it debt.
Samson takes place in Tyndalston, where close quarters combat and vehicle action drive progress as you deal with rising debt and threats against your sister. An action point system limits mission choices, while a daily quota and law response increase pressure based on your actions. Combat uses momentum, terrain, and improvised tools in tight spaces, while driving turns cars into weapons through ramming, drifting, and traps. Upgrades improve both fighting and driving, and districts change based on your decisions.
Meets regret. Pain built up. Adrenaline took over. I didn't fight to win. I fought to finish. Cars had weight. Every hit mattered. The more work I did, the louder the city got. Miss a payment, and they reminded you. They weren't negotiators. They were punctuation. When the day ran out, so did your luck. Sleep didn't fix a thing. It just reset the clock. It was all connected. Time, debt, violence, and speed. People talk about freedom like it's a feeling. They have no idea.
Visions are growing in intensity, and that place is dangerous. If you keep going back there...
Life is Strange Reunion lets you play as Max and Chloe in a story set at Caledon University, where a deadly fire threatens the campus within 3 days. Gameplay is built around player choices that change conversations, events, and character outcomes, with Max's rewind ability allowing you to undo decisions and solve puzzles by altering time. Chloe brings dialogue-based mechanics through backtalk interactions, while the story branches based on decisions that determine who survives and how events unfold.
Especially now that your new president wants to snatch up more of Lakeport.
Not to mention a shapeshifter with whom I share ideological differences.
Dude, what is your life?
I know you think you're above it all, but life is about making tough choices.
You don't get to tell me about tough choices. I have made tough choices.
You're Max Caulfield. You'll always try to save everyone and everything you can. Just don't act surprised when you make everything worse again.
We're doomed.
We are not doomed. We're Max and Chloe. This timeline, us, I'm going to fight for it, no matter what.
Industria 2 is a narrative-driven first-person shooter where you play as Nora, trapped in a parallel dimension shaped by a powerful artificial intelligence. Gameplay combines shooting, scavenging, and crafting with physics-based interactions and a diegetic inventory system tied to the environment. Players upgrade weapons with attachments and face hostile machines in intense combat while moving through industrial ruins and boreal landscapes as the story unfolds through encounters and progression tied to Nora's past. Godslayer is an open-world RPG set in a steampunk city ruled by Celestials, where you play as Cheng, an Elemancer using chi-based elemental powers like fire, water, earth, metal, and wood in combat. Gameplay involves combining these elements to create interactions such as steam or obstruction, while learning new abilities from scrolls and masters. Progression includes upgrading skills, forming alliances with factions, and navigating a city filled with social hierarchy, surveillance, and political influence.
Came the machines.
Horizon Hunter's Gathering is a 3-player co-op action game built around team-based combat against machines, where players select hunter classes with defined roles such as damage or support. Missions include wave-based encounters and dungeon-style runs with shifting layouts and loot, while a roguelike system grants temporary upgrades that reset after each session. A shared hub allows crafting and gear setup between runs, and gameplay uses a stylized visual approach with cross-play and cross-progression support.
All across the land, people are dying. That's why our leader gave me this command. We have to fight back. And to do that, we need a team. Soldiers who always hold the line. And mercenaries who may have crossed it now and then. Infiltrators who hide in the dark. And champions who shine in the light. Upstarts whose stories are just beginning. And legends looking for one last shot. The last line of defense for those who need it most. Made up of the greatest hunters in the land. This is Hunter's Gathering.
武士道。それは己の均衡を保つこと。
Seoul Shogunate is an action RPG set on a futuristic moon ruled by samurai clans, where you play as Yuzuki, an outlaw ronin using melee weapons and tech-enhanced gear in combat. Gameplay includes hack-and-slash fighting with multiple weapon types, elemental effects, and customizable skills through gene splices. Movement uses jetpacks and grapple cables to handle different gravity levels, while players navigate large cities, mining zones, and faction-controlled areas with boss encounters that require timing and strategy.
決意の刃を研ぎ澄ませたに過ぎない。因縁の大事が叶う時、この空も赤く染まろう。無残に叫んで汚れた膝を抱えてる。それでもそんな今日は手にしたくないから行かなきゃやらなきゃしわくちゃの顔のままで生きるよ。あなたがいないこんな世界を愛せるようにくだらない
and filled it with his toys. 6 guests came one night.
We shouldn't go walking.
The 7th Guest Remake is a mystery adventure set inside a haunted mansion where 6 guests uncover secrets tied to Henry Stauff, with gameplay built around exploring rooms and solving puzzles that grow more complex over time. Players interact with dynamic environments that shift through visual changes and illusions, unlocking new areas and clues. The story uses volumetric video to place live-action characters within the world, linking puzzle progression directly to narrative reveals and hidden details.
None was ever seen, but old man Stauff is waiting there. Crazy, sick, and mean.
Heroes took
Minecraft Dungeons 2 continues the top-down action RPG format where players fight through dungeons solo or in co-op, facing enemies and collecting loot while progressing through new locations. Gameplay centers on combat encounters, gear upgrades, and ability use, with systems built around improving weapons and equipment. Players can team up in local or online multiplayer, working together to clear stages and defeat stronger threats tied to a new enemy force affecting the world.
You run just far enough to feel it. You are still.
Ruiner 2 is an isometric action RPG set in Renkok where combat revolves around the shell system that lets you switch between up to 3 characters during fights to create skill combinations and synergies. Gameplay focuses on fast-paced encounters, gear management with limited resources, and crafting that adds risk-reward decisions. Progression includes upgrading each shell through skill paths and a shared system tree, while solo and co-op play support coordinated builds and combat strategies.
Sorry, Poppy. You don't get to die like this. You're done running solo. Now move.
So, you want to be a cult leader. First,
Join Us is a survival simulation where you build and manage a cult during an apocalypse, recruiting followers from civilians and enemies to grow your group and assign them roles based on their abilities. Gameplay includes base building, resource management, and creating belief systems that affect follower behavior, while keeping morale in check to prevent them from leaving. Combat involves defending against authorities and rivals, with co-op support for up to 4 players and permadeath adding lasting consequences.
In my soul, and it's time for these wheels to roll. On the wagon train.
and don't let your followers all die.
It's Your start of mine will be dazzling down the line.
Because, trust me on this, a cult leader with no followers is just a lonely weirdo.
I must do one last punishment I must endure.
Outer Heaven.
Metal Gear Solid Master Collection. Volume 2 brings together Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots, and Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, focusing on stealth-based gameplay where players infiltrate areas, avoid detection, and complete missions using tactical tools and weapons. The collection also includes Metal Gear, Ghost Babel, and digital content like screenplay books and a soundtrack, while Peace Walker supports multiplayer missions with up to 6 players alongside its core stealth action systems.
You'll have no choice but to accept death.
This is my final mission.
So began the war between Zero and Big Boss.
Do you understand, Snake? Any means necessary. Just stop Liquid's insurrection.
Liquid!
Guns of the Patriots!
Because I knew where my loyalty belonged. Nukes. They're bringing nukes into Costa Rica.
We are not allowed to bear arms.
Please, you must drive them out of our defenseless country. As our deterrent.
Yes. It simply said Jack. Over and over.
Boss. Is that you? Answer me! Boss!
Ashes of the Singularity 2 is a real-time strategy game where players command large armies across planetary-scale battlefields. Choosing between factions like humans, the Substrate AI, or the Post-Human Coalition, gameplay focuses on strategic planning, resource management, and positioning rather than fast reactions, with control over thousands of units using a zoom system that shifts from orbit to ground. Modes include campaign, instant action, and multiplayer, with terrain and structures changing dynamically during battles. Clive Barker's Hellraiser Revival is a first-person action horror game where you play as Aiden using the Genesis configuration puzzle box, gain abilities while trying to rescue his girlfriend from a hellish dimension. Gameplay combines survival elements with combat against cultists and supernatural enemies, using both weapons and powers granted by the box. Encounters involve managing limited resources while facing increasingly dangerous foes, including followers of the Cenobites and their leader Pinhead.
Sometimes the things we think we need are not all that good for us.
As you say, I have witnessed you, Aiden Lynch. You crave what we offer. Your desires, so plentiful. Give in to your thirst.
Such delicious torment. It is done. She belongs to the labyrinth now. But perhaps we can come to an arrangement.
What do you want from me?
Aiden Lynch. You will give yourself to our purpose. All that you are. Let us begin.
Shark Dentist is a horror roguelike where you treat the teeth of dangerous sharks while managing their stress to avoid deadly reactions. Gameplay involves using tools like drills, syringes, and saws while monitoring pulse, oxygen, and anesthesia levels during procedures. Each run features random conditions, tool availability, and unexpected events, requiring careful resource use and quick decisions as rising stress and limited supplies increase the risk of failure.
You thought you could stay hidden up there.
Hi! Tides of Tomorrow is a narrative adventure where your decisions affect not only your story, but also the experiences of other players through an online story link system. Gameplay involves exploring a flooded world, interacting with factions, and making choices that change events, characters, and outcomes based on previous players' actions. Players gather resources while moving between floating areas with visible echoes showing past decisions that influence how each playthrough unfolds.
Was a real star. You can also play fully offline, following pre-made story links.
Could you use your visions to see where he went? Tidewalkers have visions. You guys can't stop bragging about it.
You'll track visions of that player's past and discover what happened to them.
Take the oath. We're leaving now.
The choices they made have major consequences on the world.
Your little friend broke into the slaughterhouse and stole from me.
Of course, you're shaping your own story, but you're also leaving a mark for future players.
Now, Tidy! Free the matriarch!
Pre-order now on consoles to get the Delta Agent pack with exclusive skins for you and your boat. You'll support the devs and look cool doing it. Tides of Tomorrow is a true passion project from a small, dedicated team.
Acts of Blood is a third-person beat-em-up set in a dystopian Indonesian city where you play as Hendra fighting through groups of enemies using fast-paced hand-to-hand combat. Gameplay focuses on chaining attacks, blocks, and counters while using melee and firearm weapons, along with destructible environments that can be turned into tools during fights. Movement includes parkour for positioning and escapes, with levels built around clearing enemies and defeating bosses. Windrose is a survival adventure set in an Age of Piracy setting, where players manage resources, build structures, and fight using melee weapons and firearms across land and sea. Gameplay includes naval combat with ship control and boarding actions, along with character progression through gear, talents, and upgrades. Players can recruit NPCs, interact with factions, and take on bosses across procedurally generated islands, with solo play or co-op supporting shared progression and combat. Star Wars Zero Company is a single-player, turn-based tactics game set during the Clone Wars where you control a squad led by Hawks, a former Republic officer. Gameplay focuses on planning moves, positioning units, and using abilities in turn-based encounters against enemy forces, requiring coordination between different squad members with varied roles. Missions revolve around managing an elite team of specialists as they face a growing threat, with strategy and decision-making shaping each battle outcome.
Fought in the shadows. The war beneath the war. A war that's won with the right strategy. Surveillance, ciphers, good old-fashioned sabotage. These aren't the heroes they tell stories about. They're professionals. Setting aside their differences to take on the impossible. But that's the job, and they get it done.
Shuttle. My personal home on the rails. Things are great, but I'm out of fuel cores.
Enginefall is a multiplayer crafting shooter set on massive moving trains, where players start at the back and progress forward by scavenging, building, and fighting other players for control of train cars. Gameplay combines PvP combat with base building, allowing you to create small respawn points and storage while upgrading gear on the move. Players can extract with loot to improve their shuttle and eventually control larger train sections, expanding into player-owned mobile bases.
It's huge and gross. Half the train's missing. There's a giant hole in the floor, and these dudes are having a rave. I go down the hole and find a resource collection area. I start gathering resources. This guy looks like he's working hard. I use the resources to build a base. This is nice, but the neighbors want to come inside using hammers. Explore new places, find new things, grind up those things to make new stuff. This is cool. I'll make my way to second class. This is scary. He has stuff, and this thing. I'll learn this thing and make more like it. Go back to my neighbors with the hammers. Give them a gift. They loved it. I want more, so I do it again. Knock knock. Who's there? Housekeeping. I have all the resources. I have all the guns. My base is huge now. It takes up half the carriage. Wait. The conductor comes on the PA. I should kill him. I make my way through to first class. These guys also hate the conductor. We head to the front of the train. Nature. Get to the engine room. Head towards the conductor. The control room is locked. So while they breach the door, I take out an insurance policy. We breach into the control room and make the conductor lie down. He's sleepy. We become conductors. We have all the fuel cores. I have all the fuel cores. As I pull the fuel cores out the train, I hear that people are breaking into the control room. As they break in, I use the secret conductor door to escape. They didn't see me. They immediately saw me. I head into the gas tunnels. They're chasing me. I get through the tunnels, head upstairs, and jumped down to my dagger. I extracted the final moment. Now I have a bunch of resources. I have many guns. I have all the fuel cores. Now what? Bigger train.
'83 is a large-scale multiplayer tactical shooter set in a Cold War conflict, featuring 40 v40 matches where players join squads to complete objectives across battlefields. Gameplay focuses on coordinated teamwork, class-based roles, and realistic weapon handling, including vehicles like tanks and jeeps alongside infantry combat. Matches run around 30 to 40 minutes, with commanders directing strategy while players capture points, use fire support, and manage positioning to secure victory.
And the Cold War has quickly turned into an all-out conflict across Europe. One of the battlefields, codenamed Woodpecker, takes you to the location of the iconic Duga radar station in northern Ukraine. There are multiple objectives you and your squad need to swiftly capture to gain control over this strategic location. The choices your squad makes when capturing objectives matter. Teamwork, effective use of vehicles and equipment, or well-timed fire missions can all provide the necessary tactical advantage to win the battle. 83 is currently in development, and we aim to launch it on Steam Early Access within 1 year.